Hi guys, we're in the plant room and yes, we are going to be starting more seeds today. I just realized we're about 8 weeks out from our average last frost date here in Maryland zone 7B, and I haven't started my onions yet. And usually I like to start them about 8 to 10 weeks before I transplant them out into the garden. That way they have a little bit more time indoors to kind of bulk up. So I thought I'd just kind of go through just some basic and helpful information that I've learned along the way as far as growing onions. First, you need to determine which varieties of onions grow best in your area. Onions are categorized into three groups. You've got your long day, short day, and intermediate. Long day onions are grown in the northern part of the country where the days are long and the onions are exposed to 14 to 16 hours of sunlight each day, and that's what they need for them to properly form up their bulbs. Intermediate day are right in between long and short day, and those require about 10 to 14 hours of sunlight per day. And then your short day onions are more grown in the south, and those require anywhere from 8 to 12 hours of sunlight per day for them to properly form up. So the easiest way to figure out which zone you are in, I go to Johnny Seeds. They have so much information on that website. And if you go under the vegetables tab and go to onions, they have guides and charts and maps that will show you which zone or which area you're in, and that will help determine which varieties of onions you can grow. Once you know which group of onions grows best in your area, you need to decide how you want to start them. Do you want to start from seed, from a bulb, or from a start? I like to start mine from seed because it just opens the door to so many different varieties of onions that you can try. Plus, I know exactly what's going into my plant from the moment I plant it to the time I harvest it. If you want to start from a bulb or a start, that's fine. It'll skip this whole step, but it does limit you as far as what varieties you can choose from, because it's pretty much whatever your supplier or your nursery carries or whatever you can find. But they do eliminate this whole step, so you can just plant them directly in the ground or right in your bed. And again, it just saves a lot of time. But again, I prefer to start mine from seed because I enjoy it. And again, I know exactly what's going in. Once you know which varieties of onions you want to grow, you want to make sure you have a spot in your garden picked out that gets full sun, because whatever variety that you pick out, onions require full sun in order for their bulbs to form up properly. All right, guys, the footage of me talking about soil got damaged. We didn't notice it until we were in editing, so I'm back up here now. You'll notice everything is all nice and clean because we're back up here after we finished our project. But I wanted to talk about the soil real quick. So onions like a very loose, light, fluffy soil with a pH between 6 and 7. They don't want to be in heavy, compacted or heavy clay soil because they're forming their bulbs underground. They don't want to be restricted in their growth habit. They want to be able to just freely expand, and that way we'll get nice big bulbs when we harvest. Onions are part of the allium family, and they prefer even, consistent moisture. You want to make sure your watering is on point. You don't want to let the soil dry out too much, but you don't want to keep the soil sopping wet because most of what's going on is underground, and if the soil is staying too wet, you're just going to rot out the bulb. They're also heavy feeders, so you want to make sure you get on a consistent fertilizing schedule. For me, since I'll be transplanting these out mid-March, I'll probably start fertilizing about the beginning of April and continue that every month with something like a general all-purpose fertilizer like Garden Tone. And then about a month before I'm ready to harvest, I'll back off on the fertilizer and they can just soak up whatever nutrients are left in the soil up until we harvest them. So with all the information I just threw at you, I am ready to start my onions. I've got my whole setup ready to go. I've got my seed starting mix, a 24 cell count tray. I've got my Natral to help with fungus gnats. Our labels are all written out and ready to go. And we've got our seeds. I'm going to be starting 3 different varieties today. I've got a red onion, the Cabernet. This is 100 days to maturity to harvest. I've got a sweet onion, the candy onion, a high sugar content onion. This is 110 days till harvest. And then we've got our bunching onions, or as I like to refer to them as spring onions or green onions. So the process is pretty standard. We're going to fill our tray with our seed starting mix. I'm going to sprinkle some Natral into the soil, and then I'm just going to follow the instructions on the back of the packets, and I think they require a 1/4 inch depth to plant, and then cover them with a little bit of soil. I'll put a little bit of vermiculite over top, which will help with moisture retention. and then we'll get them watered in and under the grow lights. Okay, our onions are all planted and ready to go. I've got them watered in. There's a layer of vermiculite on top. I forgot to put the natural on before, so I just sprinkled it over top of the vermiculite, and that's totally fine because when I water it, the water will just help pull it into the soil. And this is where they will stay under the grow lights with a humidity dome until I see germination in all of the cells, at which point I will take the humidity dome off and I will begin watering and fertilizing at a half strength. And you guys, that's it for our project today. So glad to have these onions started so they'll be ready to transplant out into the garden in a couple months. And let's hope we have a better harvest than last year. Last year was a complete fail. The onions didn't get enough sun. The fig tree was blocking them and I didn't realize it until it was too late, so I had to pull them and just plant something else in their place. So now that the fig tree is removed, they should get more than enough sunshine, and I will try and stay on my watering and fertilizing schedule so we have a bunch of onions to harvest this summer. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below and we'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.